What I'm going to be showing you today is the quicker way to soak off a set of acrylic nails. What you'll need for this process is 2 bowls, preferably ceramic or glass, a long plastic tray, usually the kind you can get when you take out food or order food online. It needs to be plastic, styrofoam will not work. You will also need a metal nail file and a hand file that is about 100 grit. You can get away with maybe a 150 grit, but you really need a coarser file for this process. You may also need a E file to take some of the length off of the nail and to break through the top layer of the polish and acrylic. So as you can see, I've already gotten my client started here soaking, and at this point I am using the hand file to get some of the acrylic off. I'm also using a metal file to scrape the product. You do not want to hit the client's natural nail with your metal file. You just want to scrape that top layer of acrylic off as much as you can once it starts to soften. Now, why you need the plastic tray, I'm going to explain that. The plastic tray holds water, hot water preferably. This hot water sits under the bowls of acetone. The hot water is going to heat up the acetone, which makes it work faster at melting that acrylic product down. So you'll have your client soak for a few minutes. Some of the acrylic will melt down. You'll take your metal file and your 180 grit file, or your 100 grit file, and you will use that to get some of that product off. If you have an E file with a fine bit, you can also use that. But just be careful not to hit the client's natural nail. You don't want to use the E file for much of this process. It's mostly going to be just to shorten the nail so you don't have to waste time soaking off all that excess product. If your client wants to keep their length, then you don't want to use your E file to cut the nails down. You'll just have to go ahead and have them soak, and just FYI, that's going to make the process take a little longer. So you'll want to just kind of chit chat with your client while they soak. If the water gets cold, you'll want to take it in and dump it, fill it up with more hot water so your client can still have the effectiveness of the hot acetone soaking their product off. We live in Florida, so the air conditioning is going 24/7, 365, so the water gets cold pretty fast. So you'll want to swap that out once you notice the water is not as warm as it was, because it will be less effective if it's cold. If you've ever soaked your nails off in a salon, you'll know that the acetone is pretty cold and it takes forever. It can take up to an hour, maybe more, to soak that product off. Whereas if you heat it up, it maybe takes a half an hour to 40 minutes, depending on how thick the product was applied and how long the client's nails are, etc. This is also a great incentive to not apply your product so thick, because when it's time to soak off, it will be much easier for it to come off if you are using a good layer of acrylic, but it's not too thick. So what you see me doing here is using the hand file to scrape some of that product off the top. And again, I'm letting the client soak, chit-chatting, etc. Just trying to keep the client entertained while their hands are basically held hostage in the acetone. Like I said, however many times you need to refill your hot water, do that. The plastic tray is really great for that because the bowls sit perfectly into it and it heats up the acetone really fast. So yeah, you'll want to microwave your water. That's what I do. I use a different container. I microwave the water. I pour the cold water out of the tray, and then I sit that down first and put the acetone bowls in it, and I slowly pour the warmed up water back into the tray. As far as microwaving it, you want to do it for just a couple of minutes. You don't want to burn your client, so make sure the water is not boiling. It's just warm, warm enough to get the acetone hot, but not scorching your client, because that's what you don't want. If you find that the acetone is too hot, again, if you're under a vent or something, it should cool off pretty quickly, so you won't have to wait too long before your client can put their hand back in there. And again, I'm just going in with that hand file, scraping off some of that product off the top of the nail. Because again, you don't want to just have them waiting in their acrylic product. You want to get as much off as you can get off by hand, and then the acetone can work that much better. It's that much more effective. Um, and you're going to scrape as much as you can scrape to get the product off. So yeah, have them put the hands back in, and then once you get down to their natural nail, you can just file the rest of that off. Make sure it's nice and clean. Get rid of the acetone, and then you're done. Thank you for watching. Please like this video, share it, subscribe, leave a comment if you have any questions or you want me to post a video about a certain technique or process. Thanks for watching.